Master, save yourself!
No way, two can play. Pickle.
Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike, and today I want to talk to you about the FansToys FT-55B, and it is their take on very G1-esque masterpiece scale cassettes for Ramhorn, Steeljaw, and Eject? Is it Eject? Anyhow, if you've got the other cassettes, you pretty much know what to expect from FansToys when it comes to their cassettes. So I'm going to just kind of go through these, do the transformation, and do a bunch of comparisons. But I do want to say I did get these at Shozy. I'm going to have a link down below where you can get yours and TH reviewer code if you want to help me out. But let's get and take a look at these cassettes and comparisons. Coming up! Alright, here's the packaging. This is the box, and it just really does look like a FansToys box, doesn't it? And it's got some artwork on the front there, and then just kind of writing on the side. Kind of does give you some of the Takara vibe, in a way. Real thin box, pretty cool. You see both modes on the back there, and then, of course, inside of it, you've got this really slimline box, and you get cassette protectors over there. One's got a yellow dot on it. Then there's one accessory right here. The other two accessories, they have their accessories built in. Okay, so here they are in their cassette modes, and I think they look pretty good in the cassette modes for the most part. They all have quite a bit of paint to them, and some shine and some sheen. So that's how they look, and there it is on the Ramhorn one, and then there he is. So it does look pretty good. I do kind of like the shine and the sheen. They sort of hold the mode pretty solid, and so with that, they look good. They get the part done. They each come with one of these cases that they can go into, and they fit into these cases just fine. I like they included it, but I'm not really going to use that. It's not a function or feature that I need, but it's nice that they included it, so glad we've got it. I'll never use it. Here we go with a quick comparison to the originals. Now, I do want to point out these are thicker than originals, but about a little bit shorter. So not quite as long, but so they're not shaped exactly the same. They're very similar in that regards, but not exactly the same. But you do have, like, you could tell that looks like a cassette, and of course that's kind of detrimental to one side of it, and then this one doesn't kind of have all that on it, but there's that one. Here we go, right here. Now I'm missing my sticker on this side, on that one. I guess I should have dug deeper to find one that had a good sticker, but anyhow, you got to get an idea of versus the G1 in the cassette mode, and there it goes. Now this is not the same character, but it's just to give you an idea for the most part, and there's a nice comparison. Now, they do fit into the FansToys blaster recorder. You can put it in there. I'm always concerned about paint scrapage, which this feels like it's better than with their acoustic wave, and then you push it back. You can have two cassettes in there if you'd like, and then of course with this that old release there to bring it forward, but I'm not going to bother shoving two of them in there. I just kind of want to show that they all fit and look good. Alright, so let's get into some transformations here. And so what we're going to have to do is fold this around, and then fold this around, and then we're going to bring the legs down and close this in, bring this forward. Same thing over here, bringing that forward, and then we're going to pull the feet out, which is kind of simple. And I do have a tool. Not trying to be a tool, trying to use a tool. Here we go. So I'm going to bring this out, and this is just from my son's nail kit that he recently needed for something, and I was like, hey, you need this piece? Fold this foot around. Like so. And then same thing over here on this foot. Get it out. Out and around. Get him in place. Pull the waist. Make them, extend them taller. Remember when the first go around with these cassettes, it's kind of the same kind of idea with the first ones with the acoustic wave, and those people were forgetting to pull the waist down, so they were looking super short. So pull the head out, and then now we're going to pull down the arms. I think there's a couple of transformations. I think the Voltron I forgot to pull the arms down on, so it's like, oh, it doesn't have a double joint, but it actually did. So I really hate having to use a tool at all. I fought it for a long time, but since I had this for free with my son's kit there, I might as well use it. But I did chip a little paint on something once in a while with trying to, just with my fingernail you can chip paint, but for the most part this guy here is done, and then we can start with the next one. Alright, let's take a look at this guy here. And so some strange stuff going on with these for sure. We're going to pull this out, which is crazy, with the rear legs, and it's in there good. There, that came out, and then this here. Try to slide this in here and get this to come out. That is crazy. Crazy tight stuff. But so what you want to do is you want to kind of get this. This is just going to fold like a fold out flap kind of thing. And then there we go. Then it's going to work. You're going to work it backwards a bit so that, and it is going to stay out a bit once you've transformed that. And then we're going to pull these out also with kind of the same concept, and pull these legs down. And then once this is out, we can pull the head out and the tail out and all of that fun stuff. There's the tail. There's, just grip it right here and get it out and around. And then we've got the head there. Now there's a panel on the inside here that we're going to pull out. We'll pull that out here in a second, but let's go ahead and get this folded up and then fold out the rear of this piece there. And then same thing on the other side. I'm going to fold this up and out, up, and then back out on this. And we've got that going. And now we need to get this panel out from inside of here. So hate to say it, but it feels like you almost need tools. I never really needed tools back in the day to transform these things, but it feels like it's almost a necessity, modern day transforming of these guys. I'm going to pull this up, and then it's going to slide into that slot over there, get it all aligned. And then we, for the most part, got this guy in his mode. Gonna clean that up just a little bit. So you got to get this panel that you folded up into this hole right here, and then just go around and kind of straighten things up the way you want them to look, the way you want it to look, and how you want it to look. So that's going to basically be this guy, and then we'll get into the next one. Alright, so let's get this one here transformed up. Just kind of push the feet back there. And we've got that one. And then we are going to need to, these are going to pull down, and this pulls out. Pulling it out, and then hinges around and then tabs in. There's like a notch right here, and that's going to tab in. So same thing on this side here. Pull it out, pull it back, notch it in. Then we're going to fold the wing piece here. So it's going to fold down and around and then up like so. So that's going to work. So this is going to fold down. There's kind of a double hinge right there and around, and then up and out. And so we've got the rear end mostly done. Okay, so let's lift up on this, split that, open it up, bring the head out. Then we're going to take the legs down, and then we're going to use this gap here to sort of fold all this up. Okay, so we'll be folding this up, and we need to definitely get it past that. That's kind of a tricky challenge there. Folding it past all of this. Folding it up. There is the tricky challenge on that. And then this is actually, this tab is going to go into this notch, which is going to make it a bit of a challenge. Let's just get the legs on place on both sides. Let's get that working, and then we'll tab that in and it'll be done. At least with FansToys, everything's good and tight. There's a slight notch there to get it underneath that. And just worked it past that just off the camera real quick so I could get that done. Now we need to kind of get this plugged into place here, which it's interesting how that's done with like an open top notch, which is quite interesting how they did that. But get all that pegged in, and there he goes. That's pretty much it with this guy. So we're going to take a look at each one of these now. All right, so here they are in their bot modes or their animal modes or whatever you want to call it. And I think they look pretty good. They look pretty decent overall. Of course, that paint and presentation makes it look amazing. But starting out, let's just look at this guy right here. And yeah, blue, nice paint. We got the paint right here, and then we're gonna notice in comparison some slight differences from the first go around that they did, and that looks nice. Now he does have this gun, which you could put into these cavities in the alt mode if you want to by transforming it, splitting it, transforming it, and those kinds of things. But I don't really mess with all that. It's not a big deal for me, so I'm not gonna bother. But still pretty cool. There's his one accessory, and it looks really good. I like that vac metallized chrome look to it, so that looks great. Same type of articulation that we saw before with the head and then the shoulder, 360. Some biceps. Is it bicep swivel in it? It does feel like it has it, but it's so tight, I'm not going to mess with it. Do have the double... No, not a double jointed elbow. No hand articulation. Do have... no waist articulation. Leg going up to here and then out to here. And you've got a thigh swivel and then everything we saw with that foot when we transformed it. So really not a huge amount of articulation, but pretty much what you'd need out of a cassette. And it's solid. It feels nice and solid. It holds really well. That's pretty good. So we're going to do comparisons for all of them here in just a second. Let's take a look at this Ramhorn one. And he looks good. He's shiny. One thing I forgot to show on him, we showed it on the first go around. They have some gappiness in the back. They're all of these have a bit of gappiness to them, and I'm not mad at that at all. There's a little bit of gappiness right here. They did attempt to kind of cover up some of it, but I'm not really mad at it at all. There's some gappiness on the side. They just look good. You kind of take that cassette into 3D mode, and there's limits of it. I mean, could they have incorporated 14 more panels? Yeah, they could have. Would I have wanted that? No. Not at all. And so, I mean, some people do, though. Some people would like to take 27 minutes transforming each one of these. I'm not part of that. So he does have kind of a ball-jointed head right here on that. You do have the neck that goes up and down, so there's that. That works. Just some 1, 2, 3 points of articulation on each one of these legs. And you can kind of go in and out. So you can give them a little bit of a wider stance if you want to, and that's okay. Not much since this is tabbed in, so that doesn't give you that, but you get the 1, 2, 3 points of articulation. So solid. He stands well. You can just pick him up and set him down. You just got to make sure you have all the legs that are properly distributed. And then looking at their Steeljaw, and which again, I don't really remember all the names that they gave these guys. It's not that big of a deal to me. Here is their Steeljaw. And he looks pretty good. For some reason, he's got an articulated jaw. Yeah, he does have. I was thinking he had an articulated jaw. He does. That is really cool. That looks good. That looks real good. And then, of course, the back metallized chrome on this. Back metallized chrome on this. So, I mean, the presentation is always nice with the FansToys. I didn't put the tail up yet. There's the tail. The little details in this. But, yeah, I mean, it's a nice-looking little set of figures. They display better from, like, those display better from the side than the front. From the front, they do, you kind of see a little bit of a wonkiness to them. On the sides, they look better. So I'm going to give them that. But let's go ahead and roll into some comparisons. So it's a little bit different when you're trying to do a comparison of little bitty figures next to a big figure But as you can see, this is Deformation Space, which is a great tune, matte finish figure. That's how it looks with the Deformation Space. Kind of a transition into saying, okay, you can see how it looks next to the FansToys. The FansToys has more of a sheen and a shine to it. They are slightly different in styling, but really close, to tell you the truth. And I think that these cassettes would fit fine if you had the Deformation Space. So that's kind of what I'm saying. If you have Deformation Space, even though these are shinier and that's matte, it still looks good. I mean, you can see it right here. Looks good with both of them. Fits both of them very well. Now, do the cassettes actually fit in the Deformation Space? I didn't try it, but I'm pretty sure they would. I mean, it's pretty universal at this point, and so with that, I probably should have tried it now that I think about it, but they're already in their bot modes. So now this is where comparisons get wildly ridiculous. Now I'm going to point out a few things. First of all, I like the design and style of the MMC the best. I like the MMC the best. Now I'm going to like MMC the EX or the Con version that I don't have yet better, but the EX has a better paint job. But MMC's looks good. I got floppy jaw syndrome. I would rather have lockjaw. Stay in place. But looking at them style-wise, stylistically, I do like what MMC did the best. But presentation and paint, FansToys wins by a mile. But size, I like the size of that too. Then we get into MMC. And MMC has two different versions. So this is their 1.0. Wait, yeah, is this their one? This is the 1.0. And the head keeps popping out. But it really wasn't horrible. So their 1.0 wasn't horrible, and then their 2.0 comes along, and I think the 2.0 is better. So you're looking at a little bit cheaper. I don't know, per unit, maybe similar priced, actually, now that you think about it. They're probably similarly priced because these are like 32, 34 a piece, and then this is 100 and I think 130 for a set of 3, something along those lines. So FansToys are still more expensive, but it's still a cheaper option, but not a whole lot cheaper. I don't know. A lot of people are saying they still kind of like the 1.0 KFC on the Steeljaw better. That's 1.0, that's 2.0, that's FansToys. Quick comparison so that we can see the G1, which is very important to see where we came from, where we are going, well, technically where we are right now. Okay, for Ramhorn, we're going to start with the G1 and seeing where we came from, where we're going, and where we've been, kind of the differences between them, and size-wise, not much different, but aesthetically, engineering, way better. And, of course, this is a parts former. I don't have a problem with that, but some people do. Then we get into, let's see, where are we going with this one? We've got the 1.0 of the KFC. And so with that, and I got to admit, the 1.0 of the KFC wasn't great, but the horn would break. And I mean, we've come a long way since then. Then we've got the Deformation Space, and there's that one. And so with that, a lot of people said it was horrible. He has a tiny head, tiny horn. It's not great, but it's not quite as bad as everybody's trying to make it out to be. But it's still there. It's a thing. And then we got the KFC 2.0, which looks really cool, but it just seems kind of tiny. It just seems they went way smaller, but way cooler looking. So that's all of your Ramhorn options. And there's also this other one that was in like Titans Returns. I have that, but I don't have it out of the package. So anyway, cool looking. Okay, so now we're getting into the Eject with Rewind. And so these are what we got from FansToys so far. And looking pretty good. There's some slight different paint app alterations, like it's missing here, but it's here on the inside of the chest, and kind of a orange on the face, and it's gold on the face here. So let's get that closer. Slight differences, not that big of a deal. Both have the gappiness in the back. Doesn't bother me. Great looking paint. Then we get into the old KFC and what they gave us, and what we've been rocking our shelves for like, feels like a decade, but probably isn't really that long, but it feels like it's been that long. But they didn't look that bad. These are better. I like these because they're a little taller. They do look a little bit better because they're taller. And then, of course, we got the G1. And I didn't pull the blue one of the G1 out of that. Just didn't. I've got so many cassettes out for these comparisons that it's just kind of crazy. But then we got to kind of compare it to what MMC's doing. since MMC hasn't done these yet, we just got to kind of stick. Well, okay, MMC has sort of done them, but I don't have them yet, so I don't have them to compare. So I just compared what they've done with Rumble, Frenzy, and Rumble. There's no argument there. And so I like the size and what MMC does, but this like paint presentation just feels so premium. Again, I'll point out less gappiness in the back, and getting into kind of what Takara's done. So if you can look, well, that's not Takara, that's more FansToys. It's more FansToys. Did I even grab the Takara one? So okay, FansToys all scaling together, and then Takara's a bit shorter, so a bit smaller. Wish he was a little bit taller, and these are taller. I like that. They're not MMC tall, but they are a little bit taller than Takara and feel a lot more premium. Just my opinion. So I hope you enjoyed this look at the FansToys FT-55B, their take on some very G1S cassettes. And I gotta say, I like them. I like the way they look. I like the way they present. I like the coloration of them. And there's some gappiness to them. It's still not a big deal. I didn't feel like it was a big deal with the first go-around cassettes they did. And with this, it's just more of the same. And I'm okay with it. The transformations aren't horrible. I've seen worse, especially from FansToys, and they could have made them worse. So I'm kind of happy that they made them the way they made them. And again, like MMC, I like the little bit bigger size of MMC, but this just feels right. It looks right. It's fine. Definitely going to have these on display in my display. But I'm curious about you. What are you going to do with your cassette? Are you going to go for the FansToys? Do you have older iterations from, say, the KFC you're sticking with? Are you going to be doing the MMC, the bigger ones? I'm curious about that in the comments below. But I will have a link down below where you can get these at ShowZ. And, of course, reviewer code TH if you want to help me out. Like and subscribe. Titanium Hanger, out.
Do you think you got through to Prime?
Let's hope so. Because if I didn't, we're all gonna look like burnt out toaster ovens.